Discord here, guys. We're live on social media. Hello, hello. Gotta push all the buttons here. Just a couple minutes here. All right. Can you guys hear me okay in the Discord? And let me turn my screen on. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Get rocking and rolling. Get the comments up. It's a morning. All right. I think we're okay here. Okay. Whew. I got to push so many buttons every time. I got to set up a macro so it's all automated. All right. Got a list of everybody as well. All right. Yeah, can you hear me? Thank you very much. Hope you are feeling okay, by the way. That sounds like a pretty traumatic experience. Not hearing me, but the other thing. I mean, hearing me too. All right. So it's a weirdish morning in the market, right? So we got this stock here, BRBI, recently IPO'd. It's got, 18,000, 19,000 shares in volume this morning, and it's up to $65. And the market cap is 4.81 billion. So it's sketchy, right? So I'm not going to be trading that one anyway because it's outside the price range for this portfolio, but got to be very careful with stuff like this because that thing, let's say it gets 1 million volume, right? The free float is 200 million. There's no restricted shares as far as Weeble's telling me anyway. And, 1/200th of this, so less than 0.5%, could very easily send this, 1,000% in the wrong direction, so you got to be very careful. I'm just going to avoid that one at all costs because I don't want to. I don't want to. So who else? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. Criminal? How do you pronounce that? You gotta help me out. But good morning, either way. Takak says it's better today. I have to go to doc every day or be put in the hospital. Yeah, got the right doc yesterday. Okay, that's good. The dude, it can go 1,000% negative. Yes, you caught me. I think what my brain was saying is that it could go the equivalent of 1,000% move to the upside, but to the downside in terms of dollars. Yes, let's change the answer there. You know what I mean. Don't hit me. What's up, Stickman? How's it going? I'm just gonna kind of look around in the morning. It's a weird volume morning. I don't want to jump into stuff super aggressively. I'm seeing a lot of activity here, but this volume to market cap ratio is trash. This is FTEL, FTEL. It's one of the ones that we would like to trade. Plenty of potential on these, but I want to see more volume than market cap because I want to see high turnover, right? And turnover is just a measurement of how many, it's just like a ratio. It's a percentage that tells us how many shares have changed hands. Doesn't necessarily mean that there's a big percent move in price. It just means that there's a big transaction cluster, right? There's a lot of shares and cash changing hands. Sorry, I'm trying to roll my sleeve up as I talk. And that's what I want to see because that tells me there's a lot of liquidity in certain areas, right? That means it's hitting areas of liquidity, and liquidity is everywhere. I always like to clarify this. You see on YouTube where, people say there's no liquidity in the middle of a gap, and that is not true. There's liquidity. It's just higher and lower concentrations of it. Yes, Mr. OG, I'm about to knock somebody out in the market. I'm going to ruin someone's trading career today with my $50 account. I'm just kidding. No, honestly, it's so annoying, but I love this desk. It's a pretty sizable desk, but the edge, it has like a bevel on it, which is good. I don't like sharp corners either. But when I have my sleeve, it it rolls the fabric and it gets annoying. But something small and stupid like that is a distraction for me. It's just a weird sensory thing, and it just distracts the hell out of me. So I got to fix it ahead of time. So I like IBG. This is probably the number one. Hey, Alarm Clock, how you doing, buddy? This is probably like the number one opportunity that I'm going to see in the market so far until the rest of these catch up in terms of volume. So FTEL has picked up pretty decently in terms of volume. You can see the percent turnover here is 1.36%. So I need more, right? I don't want to see a couple 100,000 shares. I want to see millions. So GLTO, for example, I don't think this is updating right. GLTO is, it's got a 13 million market cap and a 4 million market cap, 13 million volume. That's good. That's what I need to see. I want to see a lot more volume than market cap on these, because that tells me that people are, doing stuff to it. So also really quick, let me add this onto the screen really fast. For those who are trading Mad Maverick's free watch list, I have a little app here that I made. I can't distribute it yet. I have to build an installer for it, but I do have it for the people on the screen. Oh, let me make this smaller. I don't know exactly where the camera is, and I'm too lazy to look at my other monitor. But I have this right here, and I'll just keep this up. It stays up on the screen. The only downside here is now that I have to move this over so I can see these, and that's okay. We'll just turn it back when we're ready. But this is an easy way. So like if I want to pull up BoxL, for example, and then plot the levels, which we traded the hell out of this one yesterday. It was awesome. And then, yeah, let me just reset here. So we've got 371. Let me just plot these levels out for you guys. Now, these are Mad Mavericks levels. If you're trading his watch list, he likes to wait, sorry, guys, for a 2-minute or 3-minute candle close over the entry threshold for his entry. And that's kind of his criteria. It's a pretty easy way. I don't know if I could say easy, pretty straightforward way, pretty simple way to lock in some profits on these when they decide to go. If they don't go, you don't get a confirmation. Or if you do get a confirmation and it pulls back down, you get a stop loss. And that's how it helps. So SLE is the next one. I'm not going to plot all these out. I do like them, and I will keep an eye on them. BRBI is probably the one of the most potential on this list, just because it's new and just because it's got a ton of attention. I'm not going to be trading it, but you guys are welcome to trade whatever you'd like. Just please be careful on a day like today. But that's how you do it. So I go to BoxL here. I got the watch list channel. Just pretend this is my Discord over here, and I got the watch list channel pulled up here, and Mad Maverick has his watch list set up here. And I could say, okay, well, BoxL entry is 371, so I plot the line. Target 1 is $4, so I plot the line. Target 2 is 430, so I plot the line, and stop loss is 355, so I plot the line. And then I stop looking at stuff, and I just wait for those levels to give me what I want to see. BRBI came out today. Yes, it IPO'd this morning, or maybe yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was this morning. Yeah, it says here there was some price action yesterday, a little bit before close, so maybe IPO'd yesterday, but normally we see a lot more volume. So I'm going to assume that might be a little bit of a glitch there. Yeah, IPOs are always risky biscuits, especially pre-market, because stop losses don't work. If we want to trade stuff like this, we absolutely can, but we have to be careful and just kind of get in and out. So I'm waiting for IBG to show some continuation, and let's do the cluster thing that we like so much. So can't really do what I like to do on this one that we went over yesterday in Premium and Lifetime, but we can identify some levels. Let me see here. Just trying to identify some stuff. Yeah, I think I like that. And then obviously we got something over here. What do we got? You know what? That looks good. I think I'll do that. All right. So then we come down to like the 5-minute. And we're kind of in the midst of one of these now. Do we have anything above that? I don't know. No, we just got our line. I'm going to erase this line at 164. This one's going to be a little bit tricky to trade. Well, maybe I'll wait till market's open and just catch some of the volume while it's there on this one. I don't like this chart, at least on that time frame, and I don't really see much else going on. Oh, maybe that. Maybe, right? It's going to be tough. It's going to be a weird one. I'd like to see probably a pull down into here if I had to pick something here. So I got two choices. I can trade inside this range, or I can wait for a pull down into one of these ranges and a potential bounce, or a break over this one here, right? All right, dude. Sorry you had to dip so early, man. Glad you could hang out with us for a little bit. So with that said, I'm just going to keep an eye on this one. I got 2 zones here. I'll make those yellow so we can see which ones I'm looking at. I'm not really interested in anything below that. And I'm not really interested in trading anything inside of this zone here. I could, but where's the fun in that? 25% range, maybe. Okay, it's getting a little more fun. So let me grab a, I think we'll just do a $5. No, we'll do 5 shares. I'll break it up into shares today. And then if I get the entry that I'm looking for, I'll consider grabbing a piece of this one. This is an IBG. It's going to be on my list this morning for close watches. We're inside auction cross right now. So I can always watch for potential entry here. Now, I don't want to take an entry in the middle of these 2 zones. I don't care if it turns around and goes back up from here. I would like to see a solid retest of this zone, or a breakout above this zone. So I'm only interested in things doing that. Okay. And then right here, as it breaks out, that's where I'd look for a confirmation. Okay. Sorry, let me just check one button as well. Okay, so that's this one. It's kind of pulling down. That is not the time to buy into these low float trash runners. And they have a lot of restricted shares, so they could drop an offering at any time as well. So ideally, we see a break. I mean, I guess I could kind of draw like a little transient level right here. Maybe, right? I might be interested in a push over that if it comes up with some force, but that's a high risk opportunity there. So let me see what else is going on here. I think FTEL is probably the only other one that I like with some volume, but I don't see anything that I like on the chart, and it's just a garbage. It's a garbage company. Doesn't mean there's not potential. It just means it's a garbage company. And let's just draw some boxes here. And yes, stocks that do stuff like this are not the ones to hold, right? You just got to get in and out and just have a good time with it. Don't marry these. I kind of like that. Now this one's up to 1271 pre-market. I guess I could kind of draw a zone right here as well, right? So I'm gonna come down maybe to the 5 minute. I kind of like this a little bit better. I might look for an opportunity on this one. Yeah, I actually think I'm gonna grab some if it lets me. Oh, it's not gonna let me trade this one. Why won't it let me trade this? I can't create a new order. That's interesting. That's a first. Oh, that's so trippy. Does anybody know why I can't trade FTEL? Is this a... it's on the NASDAQ. I don't know what's going on here. Is this some sort of weird instrument that I can't touch? Suspended? Are they going to OTC or something? Scalp Cat's not in the room. He's outside the room howling at me. He's a little weirdo. Anyway, I've traded FTEL before. It's weird. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, well. Sometimes we just can't trade stuff, and that's okay. I'll have to look into that. I'll look into the SEC filing and see what's going on, but that's weird. Okay, moving on. So with that said, there's really not much we can do about that other than I do kind of like this. Yeah, kind of like that zone. And then, of course, we got like a mini one right here. And then we've got an even smaller one right here. So I'm just going to kind of hang out for a little bit and see what happens here. We got about 30 seconds till market open. Let me switch this over to 1 day, and then we can we'll keep an eye on stuff. I'm not going to buy stuff within the 30 seconds before market opens unless I see, legitimate intent, but I don't see that on these this morning. There's kind of weird volume. And these kinds of days are risky biscuits. Plus, I get my hotkeys in like 2 seconds, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, so I'm just going to set that to $10, and then we'll see. We got about 5 seconds. Let me take a sip of Monster. Delicious. All right. Duck, did you tag the wrong porter? I do that all the time. All right, IBG is pulling down a little bit here. Let's see if we get our retest. SLE is pulling down as well. Yeah, mornings like this, we don't want to jump into a whole bunch of stuff super aggressively. I do kind of like this. All right, let's see if we can get a... Now, this one's going to have some volatility to it. It's a 1.28 million float stock, so I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one. That's GLTO, by the way. All right, so we've got IBG down here. It's kind of showing some reaction here, but I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. I might take an entry here if it can pop over that purple box, and then I'm kind of inside the range, which is okay now because we're not in pre-market, but it is still pretty moderate risk in pursuit of a new high. So we may or may not get that. I'm just going to let the market kind of figure out what it wants to do. If we get a pop out over here on SLE, I'll take an entry as well. Look at that pull down. That's what I like to see. All right, so looks like IBG and SLE are kind of my two watches. Looks like ORIS blasted. I'm sure Top's probably trading the hell out of that one. GLTO is showing a reaction. So at this point, I would look for a break over a candle open, or a high, I'm sorry, candle high on GLTO. So sometimes I would just grab an entry as soon as it pulls out of that box, but well, I want to see how it reacts to that level. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some SLE if I can get filled. I'm going to try to get one share. Okay, I got one share of SLE, and it looks like it's probably halting, which is okay. And then GLTO, I just want to keep an eye on this one. So at this point, I just want to see a break over a candle high on GLTO. So I'm trading $10 position, so it's about 20% of the portfolio per buy. So I got to kind of be a little bit cautious with some of these. Yeah, IBG is kind of hanging out here. Now I do like that it's showing some, some buoyancy above this level, but I'd really like to just see just a quick tap at least. Just really test that sub-dollar level. Then I'll catch it again when it goes back over $1. They let you buy FTEL. Ooh, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's so strange. Oh well. IPDN showing some strength. I do like this one. We've traded the hell out of this one as well. I think if we can get a break over those, I'll grab another piece. I'm going to grab a piece right here. It's high risk. This thing could easily slam down, but I like where this is coming from, and we've traded the hell out of this one. So I do like that. Let me see if GLTO is going to give me what I want out of this box. If we get some strength out of this one, get some breaks over highs, then I'll grab a piece of GLTO. Otherwise, I'll just hang out and wait. I want to see some violence. I want to see some intent. Not interested in watching stuff go sideways. All right, so GLTO is starting to, it's just kind of hanging out. What is this? Nice. Good job, Duck. Good job. Oh, looks like I might have missed my... I think I'm going to grab a piece of IBG here just because that was a huge surge in volume. And I like that that's going to pop up on everybody's screeners here in a minute. So I like it. So we'll give that one a second. If it picks up steam, if it goes above that purple box, I'll add some more. So I'll average up on that one, which is obviously risky, but I'd like to see some decisive movement on this one. So I'm just going to kind of hang out. And then I think that's 1, 2, 3. That would be 4. So I should have about $10 left on this account, plus whatever leftover change I had. And then we should be good to sell into strength, ideally, because then we should be in position. So just got to clear out of this little block here, and then I think we should be good. So let me see. Where's I also just want to take a peek at GLTO here. Okay. Yeah, it's just not getting the volume. It's got an 8-to-1 volume to market cap ratio here. IBG pulled down. This is good. This is right where I want it. I want it in these boxes. I wonder if that's going to halt. So then this one, I'll just catch it when it goes back over $1. And then let me just, I got to keep an eye on this one. I'm going to go ahead and grab some GLTO right here. Getting a little bit higher of an entry than I'd like, but them's the breaks. And then I'm going to disable this checkbox here until we get another pull up on IBG over $1. And now we wait and see which one of these wants to run double-digit percentages. To the upside, not the downside. All right, so IPDN has shown a little bit of strength, which is good. Now we've got an overall downtrend coming into this one, which is blah, but it is blasting out of an area pretty violently. And then we've got another area right here that we can kind of use as kind of a rough friction zone here. So we'll see if we can get some profits on that one. And then I'll scale out. I'll sell a piece of it. I'll sell the majority of the shares as it approaches this box. SLE should be unhalting here in less than a minute. So we'll see where that one goes. That one obviously has potential to halt up or down. And then this is at the top of the list with a 1 to 2 market cap volume ratio. And we'll see where that one wants to go. And then, of course, IVG is also halted. So I'll have to wait until that one comes back. Over $1. All right, so we're unhalted on SLE. And we pushed a little bit to the upside. Now, again, we're blasting out of an area of known violence here. So we've got a lot of potential, but I don't want it to halt again, because if it just keeps halting, then we're just kind of sitting there watching it. Oh, you're good. FTEL's running. That's good. That's good. I can't trade that one, so I hope it works out for you. The setup was there. I do like the setup on that one. That's an easy, that's an easy just push, pull, push setup on that one. Well, GLTO is kind of hanging out. I got to see some violence. I want to see these things really just start blasting. I don't want to see stuff go sideways because that tells me the market's indecisive. And what's going to happen in situations like that is you get these lower level ones that don't have the volume yet, that are cheaper and more attractive for the algos. And they just creep up this list and take over. And then you're kind of stuck in these. And that's not fun. So like SLE, for example, it's going to be very choppy. It's a 1 million float stock. So I can't let that dictate my decisions. But I don't want it like down here at $3. So I just have to make decisions kind of in between the halts. So there's going to be halts on this thing pretty frequently, and I can't really do anything about that. So it's a high risk position. But that's kind of that's the nature of these low float trash stocks effectively. So this is pushing up so far. This is IPDN, and we'll see where that one goes. Also, let me put this link in the comments section. If you guys are not yet signed up for this, it's 100% free to sign up. It's just an email. You just put your email in the box. That gives you a reminder email for Mad Maverick's coaching stream, or his free live stream, sorry, on Thursday morning. So if you guys are looking for his strategy, it's, he trades swings. It's a lot slower. So if you struggle with this stuff, or if it's just stressful, even if you are profitable, then that approach is a lot less stressful. So it's worth checking out. And like I said, there's no real commitment there. It's just an email. And then there's going to be some offers in there for his coaching program as well. So if you guys want to build a trading plan and have a mechanical approach, that's nice too. All right, let's see. Looks like GLTO is kind of hanging out as well. So again, basically what I'm waiting for is for the volume to really consolidate into one of these stocks. Once that happens, we should see a nice clean blast. And I would like it to be one of the ones that I'm in and not one of the ones that's down here lower on the list like ORIS, because that one tends to do that. So we'll see what happens. But so far, IPDN's up about 9%. I'm going to lock in the majority of my profits right around here. I'm going to hit Control 2, and that's going to sell 75% of my shares. I only have 2 shares on this account, so it'll sell one of the shares. And it'll lock in that, dollar, whatever in profit. So it's a small account, so it's not going to be huge money. But percentage on dollars, is where we see compounding growth. So just got to kind of hang out, let these stocks do their thing. It is the riskiest time of the day, so I'm okay seeing a little bit of red on these. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, and that's okay. It's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't want anybody to copy me. But if you're going to trade this time of day, you got to either keep it tight or keep yourself level-headed, because that's how you hurt yourself. So I'm just trading these little ranges, and then obviously keeping some for a breakout as well. So this one here is doing a nice little heartbeat and high consolidation. So as soon as we pop over this wick, we should see a nice little pop. So let me just zoom in really tight. We'll make it epic. And we'll just look at this right here. I'm going to stretch this out super far so it looks cool. And then we'll see if this one wants to blast up or down. Watch it go all the way down. Just kidding. So this level right here, by the way, $5. Boom, there we go. Nice little pop on that one. Let me just zoom back out so we're not a bunch of psychos. All right. And that's what we're looking for on that one. Also, just going to keep an eye here on GLTO. This one has inconsistent volume, so I got to be mindful of this one. We just got a nice little pull down on that. Jeez. So basically, every time we revisit this box here, we have potential for violence. So that's all I need. I'm just looking for one clean pop, just like this one. You guys see how it burst right out of that box like that? It came down, slammed into it, failed to break it this time, and then it just blasted to the upside with some violence. That's what I'm looking for. And then I'm looking for those zones to slingshot the price into or through the adjacent zones. Sorry about the throat clearing. And that's how we can trade these pretty efficiently. Now, if we didn't see this little spurt in volume here, this little show of strength, I would have just waited until we came down into here, because that was my original plan. But we saw a different setup right here, and it's okay, right, for me, because I've been doing this for a while. But if you're a new trader and you just wanted to lock in your discipline, then you would have waited. And if it just went up ahead of time and it never came down to this box, you would have just not had the trade, and that's okay. So with that said, SLE is open again. And again, these zones that I draw, they have massive potential for violence, and that's all I need. I just want it to slingshot. Okay, that's all I care about. I have one share of SLE. It's an $8.80 share. So we'll see if GLTO's box wants to hold. IPDN is showing a lot of violence. And remember, this is a 1.27 million float stock. Did I add to IBG? Not since my first buy. No. I should, though, because I did say I was going to. Dang it, you're right. Good call. So I'm going to add my second set of shares on that one here. So now this is a bigger position. Good catch, by the way. Thank you. I forgot all about it. Yeah, and that's part of it too. Is so I'm going to mark that down as a deviation, because I said I was going to catch it when it goes back over $1, and I did not, because I was rambling like a fool. I also keep hitting the D key on my keyboard. I don't know why. Fat fingers. But no, I appreciate it. That's good. All right. Looks like SLE is showing a little bit more violence, so this is good. Now, obviously, we should be poking over this high and then ideally punching up to that high. So that's what I'd like to see. And that's going to be a roughly 15-16% profit on that one. And then, of course, I'm going to watch and see how it behaves. And then just keep an eye here on IBG. IPTN is kind of pulling back a little bit. And then GLTO is in the box. So I want to see this blast out of this box. It needs volume, though, because this volume down here is kind of trash. So I might end up taking a hit. I might not. We'll see how it goes. SLE is in the first box. So that would be a good opportunity. If I was on a larger position, I would lock most of my shares right here just to guarantee a net profit overall on this one. I still like the strength on it personally. It may halt too, so I got to be mindful of that. It is now a it was an 8% candle at one point. So I got to be mindful that once it goes over like 4%, it's going to start showing up on screeners. And then that right there is why we would want to lock most of the shares. But I'm being a little more aggressive on this account, so I'm okay to hold it. Let me just peek back over here at IPDM. It's showing a little bit of bounce to it. If this buys up and gets a higher low, that could easily punch into this box. Sorry, my cat is like howling its face off outside my door. It's distracting. GLTO, of course, just needs volume. And then IBG is it's still holding above the box, and it's starting to get bought up as well. So just want to see everything just flip green. That'd be pretty nice. And then we should see our bigger runs, and then we just pick and choose where we take our profits. So IPDN is starting to flip positive again. That is a beautiful wick, beautiful tiny red body. And this is the kind of setup that can get like a V shape. If it wants to go up, if it wants to go down, that's fine too. But this specific setup here, that's got pretty sizable, just like straight rally potential if it wants to. But again, it's a weird morning in terms of volume. So like IBG and SLE are fighting for volume, and that's not good in my opinion. Like I don't like seeing that split like that. I'd rather see all the volume go into one, and then all the volume go to the next one, and then all the volume go to the next one, because then we can just chain sell and we can get our profits locked in nice and tight. So because IBG is a larger position, I'm going to lock in most of my shares a little bit earlier on this one. So probably just over that purple box, or maybe a little bit, like maybe halfway through the gray box. I don't know. We'll see. But you can see a lot of these are just flipping green and red, green and red, green and red, because they're so choppy, because that volume is just kind of, it's figuring out where it wants to land. You can see it kind of flow in and out like a wave at a beach. You know, that's not what I like. I like a tsunami. I just want a big tsunami. And you can see I'm down 12% on one stock, 3.5% on another, up about 6%, and down maybe 1% on another. And I'm down less than 1% for the day overall. And that's just because of position management. So we're just going to have to hang out for a little bit and see if it can clear over this this purple box right here. It should. It's the second time it's approaching it with some violence, and it failed to break this box, this yellow one, which means that our assessment was okay so far. So basically, as long as we don't reject here, we should easily punch through that. And then that's when we can start to sell some of our shares. There's the punch. So I'm just going to hold control here, and then I'm just going to press 2. I don't see any issues with the break over this wick or this wick. I might run into some friction up here, and I don't want to get stuck in that if it does. I also don't want it to halt, which it might have just done. So, oh well, that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, that one halted, which again, halts aren't necessarily bad. We don't want to, you don't want to try to predict halts. I know there's a lot of halt strategies out there. They don't always work. And a lot of times, because of the volatility, if you're wrong once, that's it. You're toast. So very risky on those. GLTO is kind of hanging out in the box again. We just need volume on this one. I don't want to see it putter around. I want to see it just blast out of that zone. SLE as well. This is super low float. It just needs the volume. Thoughts on IPDN? Well, I'm in IPDN. So I've got a thesis already built out for it, and I'm in. I got in a little higher than I wanted to on this one, but I'm waiting for it to get that volume and push. What do you like about it? What do you want to see happen on that one? So let me check one thing real quick. Okay. Looks like we're going to get our push potentially here on SLE. We got a nice, beautiful wick to the downside. Now remember, a wick shows strength in both directions. It shows push into territory and then a return from that territory. So it's not just a reversal indicator at all times. You have to be very careful with wicks because it does still indicate that price pushed into that zone. It just couldn't stay there. Okay. for it to go up. Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, I like all the stocks to go up. But what kind of thoughts were you looking for from me, I guess? Because I've already got my levels all plotted out. I'm just trading the range here. Same with SLE, same with GLTO and IBG. We like when stuff goes up. It's nice. All right, we got some movement potential here on IPDN. Now remember, we've got this box down here. Let me just make that yellow. That should be our trampoline, right? It should be doing this. That's what we want to see. Whether or not that's what we see is a different story. That's up to the market. We don't control that. I only control whether I'm in or out if it does what I want it to do. And what I want it to do is to do the thing that's going to make me money. So if it doesn't do that, I have a choice to make. And that's the only role analysis plays. It doesn't predict future. It doesn't control price. It just tells us whether or not we should be in or out. Delicious. All right, I might grab another piece here of SLE if I like it. Yeah, I think I do like it. I'll grab one share here. So basically, I'm looking at the order book here. I'm looking at the time and sales. I like what I'm seeing. I just need to see one more specific thing, and that's going to be there we go, an outside fill. I'm going to go ahead. I got to check the box. I'm gonna wait a little bit here on this one. I like what I'm seeing here, but maybe I missed my my second buy. Nah, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab my second share SLE. Sorry, I had to really pay attention to that. Let me uncheck this box as well. I just wanted to see if it was gonna do, and I added right around where I added the first time. I just wanted to see if it was going to give me what I was looking for. So on IBG, that should be on halting here in about maybe half a minute. So we'll keep an eye on that one. IPDN looks like it wants to pop a little bit. SLE should be popping based on everything I just saw on the order book time and sales. So I just got to keep an eye here on IBG. And again, my plan for that one is to sell. Ideally, we punch a new high. We'll see if we get that. Let me just make that big fat yellow. See if we get a pop. Otherwise, it could open down here for all we know. You don't control that. SLE, I don't want that to go down. It's showing compression. It's showing bullish pressure. So we'll see if that fulfills what it should be doing here in a second. I would say the next candle, the one after that, potentially. And then we'll see if IPDN wants to push as well. So we've touched this little trampoline. Now it's just a matter of taking off. So do we get the volume or do we hang out and go sideways? All right, so it looks like IBG is unhalted. So let's see if we can get our rally up to new high. We're about 18% up. I kind of wanted to take some profits about halfway through this white box here. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and lock some in right here, about 15% up-ish. I got about 5 shares left, and there's plenty of strength on this one, so we'll see if we want to get that clean pop. And I can sell 75% of what's left over and over and over again until I run out of shares. But I'd like to save the rest of those for a pop over that high. All right, so SLE is still kind of showing a little bit of push, a little bit of pull. I think SLE is going to kind of steal the show here for a second. And you can see all these stocks that I'm trading today have friction, right? It's not clean moves in either direction on this. It's just kind of like everything is like, oh, I'm going to go this way. No, you're not. I'm going to go this way. No, you're not. So it's one of those weird mornings. And on mornings like this, it's usually best to keep positions small and reduce them as soon as possible if you're in profits. And to not, fight the trend, right? So with GLTO, for example, I might just have to cut this one. It's not getting the volume that I want. It is still in the zone, so it's not invalidated yet. I'll see if I can get a close below there or something, but I might just end up taking a hit on that one. We'll see, but it's half the position that like SLE and IBG were, because these are the two that were showing me the strength. GLTO was just kind of giving me a retest and a little bit of a bounce here. So not that great. So sometimes you take a hit. I'm actually just going to cut GLTO here. And once I hit the button to cut this, I don't care if it blasts. You can't do that to yourself. If it wants to just go to a new high, that's fine. There's no point in trying to live in the future, because right now, when I have the burden of making that decision, I don't have access to any of this information. So it is unfair to myself and to my plan to try to predict what's going to happen over here and then blame myself. That doesn't do any good, so I'm making the decision right now to just cut that one. And I'm also going to sell a little piece of SLE here if we can get a pop out of this box up into the next one there. I think will be good. So we're hitting 10. I'm going to sell one of my shares right here. And I did get filled before it halted. Okay, good. So this thing is just halt after halt. So I got to be mindful. And again, this one too. Oh no, it didn't halt. That's weird. So I don't care if these, blast and go 6,000%. That's not really my burden. My job is just to get my piece and then move out and just get my 3% a day if I can. So far SLE is pushing with some strength. It looks like it's showing a reaction to this box right here. Let me change the color of that one so we can recognize it. And a blast over this box should easily push up to, like maybe $12, maybe 13 potentially. I don't know, but it's just a guess. And that's kind of all I can do about that. It's just, is it likely to go up? Looks like IBG halted to the downside after we locked the majority of our profits. That's why I like to lock those majority shares. And then that way I can always cut this if it opens up down here. I'm going to give some of the profits back, but I'll keep most of my share money on that, most of my profits. So it looks like we're pushing over the orange box so far. And this is on SLE. And we'll see. We'll see if we get a clean push through 10 up to 11. I'm not sure. That might halt. It's showing some strength, and it's also showing some friction here. I might just cut mine just over this orange box. Yeah, I'm just going to cut it right there. So I'm out of SLE. I don't want to fight with it. If it wants to go up, great. Congrats. I hope everybody makes some profit on that. If it goes down, I locked mine. So sorry. But then we can always get back into it if we want to. I'm not going to. I got my piece and I'm done for the day on that one. I just don't like what it's doing up here. IBG should be unhalting here in about 1.5 to 2 minutes. IPDN is the only one that's left, and it is in my box. So we just have to wait. I am up 3.93% overall for the day so far, and I've got 66 cents in drawdown so far. So is that going to eat into my $2.25 of profits on the small account? Probably not. Not too much. And that's my job. I just get in and take disproportionate profits in comparison to my losses. That doesn't mean I don't take losses. You guys see me take losses all the time, but they're smaller in most cases. Yeah, sometimes they're bigger, but my goal is to try to get them small as much as possible. Now, if I was just a new trader and I was just trying to lock in my discipline, again, I wouldn't have even touched this one until it was in this box, this white box down here, right? So I wouldn't be in on this candle right here. That was me. That's me as someone who's been doing this for a while. I saw specific things and I have a higher risk tolerance. And if it's appropriate to cut it, I'll cut it, just like I did with GLTO, right? I cut that when it was no longer appropriate to hold. And I took a hit on it. I just took it on the chin and moved forward. Same thing's going to happen with IPDN. If it falls down, I'll just take it on the chin and move forward. This is SLE. I'm just pulling it up here to see what happens with it. I can't trade anymore, and I don't want to. But I am interested to see if this breaks over this box in these wicks. There is massive potential in this one. That doesn't mean to jump in. It just means that this is a fun one that we can watch. All right, looks like IBG is unhalted as well. And same with this one. I wouldn't have touched this one until it was inside this box and coming out of it, like down here. That's where I would have grabbed that one. And thanks to Mr. OG22, we grabbed our second buy on that one, but I've already reduced it. So I took a larger position and I reduced it by 75% at an achievable profit zone. And that's how I make a net profit on stuff like this. All right, so IPDN's pushing up a little bit. And I don't want to see a little bit on these, right? Because this box has super high potential. This should be a powder keg. And we're just slamming it with a hammer at this point. So this should just absolutely blast. If it goes sideways and stuff, I can always make the decision to cut it. If it goes down, obviously, I can make the decision to cut it. But this one right here, for example, has a nice little tiny setup on it, just like up here. I'm going to erase this box and I'm going to erase this box and I'm going to leave these two boxes here. But I'm out. I don't want to hold that any longer. It's back where it was, but I don't like the way that it exited this specific local range. So I'm just going to cut that one and move on. Okay. Now we have IPDN, which is still in its area. It's still in a little trampoline. And I kind of just want to get some small achievable profit, or at least a smaller loss on this one, and then just kind of wrap it up. I don't like the volume right now in all these stocks. Everything is just kind of fallen down, and that's not the time to be aggressively trading and trying to nail all these profits. So I'm net profitable for the day. I can walk away. I can have a good time. I can live my life outside the market, knowing that this will compound. It's not huge, but it is a compounding percentage ROI. And that's the name of the game. So sometimes I get profits. Sometimes I get losses. My losses go towards taxes and my profits go towards reinvestment and compound growth. And there's no way to avoid losses. So we have to find the benefits in them and make them as small as possible. So just going to kind of peek around at these. So right here on this one, for example, if I just kind of draw this over to the left here, you can see this is another kind of high potency area here, but it's transitory, right? So price should punch right through that if it comes back up. So we should see a clean blast from there to there in theory, right? But we've seen a couple opportunities where that should have happened and it didn't this morning. So the volume is not agreeing with what should happen, which makes it super sketchy, right? Which is why I'm not trying to jump into a bunch of trades. I got my profits. I'm good. So SLE, and again, these are low float. Like this is 1.03 million shares. And the fact that it's showing reactions to my ranges means that I drew them okay. And it means that they're kind of respected. I don't like seeing these wicks on both sides of these ranges. That's kind of why I'm saying that the volume is weird. Along with this, like you get these little spikes and then fall off spikes and then drastic fall offs. That's where like you get this ramp up in volume and then an immediate fall off. And then you got these kind of isolated spikes. This is like some of the most dangerous market condition you can have because it's just unpredictable in terms of the trend, right? And I'm not saying the price go up, price go down prediction. I'm talking about you don't know when the volume is going to disappear. And that's where it gets really scary. So my cat is screaming his head off. It's terrible. All right. So I'm just going to kind of watch these, but again, I'm not trading them. I just want to watch them. So again, we're having a reaction here at this range. So it depends on whether or not they want to defend it. If they don't, it should pop up and punch through 11 pretty easily. And, if not, like this should be a clean run. We shouldn't see wicks here at this point. Like this chop over here, this should not be pushing the price down. Aside from maybe this specific range right there, right? I'm actually going to erase this box as well. Like this is all that should matter. We should just see a punch from here to here. queen punch. But the fact that we're having a reaction to this zone repeatedly, and the fact that we can't break through this zone repeatedly, means that it's kind of a downpour, right? And I don't have an umbrella, so I don't want to get stuck in that stuff, because that's these are the conditions where, you know, you get pretty nasty reactions. And 2 of these point down, 1 of them points up, so I got to be very careful. And I might cut IPDN as well if it doesn't get out of this box soon. Again, I don't want it going sideways because it came in with some bearish strength. So what I'll do is I'll set a hard stop right there, and I'll just erase everything else, and I'll make it nice and clean. And my goal for the day is preserving some of this profit. So I've got another 7 cents that I could lose, 14 cents. But I want to walk away with at least, you know, $1 or so in profit on this account. Again, it's not a whole lot. That's like 2%, but it compounds and it adds up over time. And 2%, you know, 2% compounds stupidly fast. And then if, you know, you compare 2% on a $50 account, it's $1. If you look at 2% on like a, you know, $50,000 account, it's okay. Right? And then 100,000 and 200,000, things add up pretty nicely if you just keep it achievable. So I kind of hate when these streams happen, because I know people like the fast moving stuff and they want to see the aggressive profits. And you know, yesterday we had that. We slammed some great profits yesterday, but not every day is going to be like that. You know, so you get it while it's there, but on days like today, you have to get a feel for the market, see what the volume looks like, see what the structure looks like, how well it's being respected or not respected. And then this is a kind of a realistic day. You know, this is where you get the risk management practice. And that's where, you know, this is I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, days like this are good for you as, you know, for your trading psychology. So I'll add up all the wins and losses that I took. I'm pretty sure I lost most of my wins today, or most of my trades, but I'm still net profitable, and that's what matters. Okay. So am I going to double this account in 2 days? No, not with this approach. So there goes SLE. Am I going to beat myself up for not holding this for, you know, a move up to here? No, definitely not. It's so much chaos in the mix there that it was not worth holding. I'm going to get rid of this, sell this one, I think. Yeah, Mama said there'd be days like these. Exactly, Charlie. I would much rather study your guys' trading on a day like today than a day like yesterday, because yesterday was clean. It was directional. We got in, we got out. It was all great and shiny and plastic. A day like today is a day where revenge trading is going to come in. You know, the emotional impact of losing a trade will contaminate the next trade, and so on and so forth. You're going to have loss aversion, things like that. And Mama said. And then you're also going to have this like opportunity cost. Oh, let me cut this one here. So I'm out of IPDN and I'm just done for the day. We'll watch SLE for a little bit. But you know, it looks like the thesis held up. But there's no way in hell I was going to maintain all that unnecessary risk, because then I wouldn't be in a profitable position. I would be, well, I mean, obviously, but I would be. But if this had continued to the downside by that same range, you know, let's say $1.91 to the downside, that price would be down here about 760, just above that new low, just like IPDN just was. And so you can't trust these. And I can't let confirmation bias destroy your discipline as well. What are we looking at, Top? We're looking at MLGO? You're probably up on the 3-minute, huh? Maybe the 5-minute. That's such a horrible chart. What's up, Death Gun? Good morning. How you doing? Do you have school today? Are you in school right now? I feel like you're in school right now. Tell your teacher I said hi. All right. Let's let's look at SLE. Is it gonna? It should break over this this high right here, but we've also got all the premium and lifetime kiddos know exactly what I see right here. Right. You got class in an hour. Okay. All right. Okay. SSKN. Yeah, let's take a look. See, I have trouble with this one. I like it, but I'd like to see a pullback. Right? Like you got that. So let's see what we got. Does that line up with anything? Maybe. I do like this little box though. It's a nice box. Hey man, nice box. You need 285. Yeah, it's kind of, it's got to reverse a little bit more, you know. I'm assuming you're looking for a breakout over that, and then above that zone right there. Is that accurate? All right, so now I'm just going to go check on my other stocks that I sold. So IPDN is still just chilling. It's not going anywhere. That's for the 2-minute 200 MA. Okay, so you're looking for a cross up, I assume. NUAI, it's looking nice. That's tasty. Let's draw it. We'll plot it out. So we've got that. And we've got that. Oh yeah, I like that. That's nice. I wish I could just resize the boxes on Webull like an adult, but I cannot. Look at that range though. Ooh-wee. It's nice. It's a beautiful set of boxes there, sir. Yeah, Sava blasted yesterday. They had their that Form 4 filing. You know, this one's got a lot of potential, but it needs to turn itself around and whatever hokey pokey it needs to do. You know, right now you're in kind of a deep retrace, right? So there's a lot of FOMO, a lot of potential. I think, what was it, 225 for the Form 4? Let me check. Yeah, 225 a share, but you know, it's just 250,000 shares. Like it's a 42 million share float on this one, so not the best catalyst, but it is still a catalyst, and people recognize the value the stock has or the potential it has, and you know, that's kind of all we need in a lot of cases, just some market appreciation. So it looks like IBG is pushing down lower. That's good for us. That's why we don't hold those. IPDN is bouncing a little bit, but you know, we'll see where it goes. I'm not gonna praise myself for missing out on that one because I don't miss it. Made the right call. And then let's see. Let's just extend this back over here. Just put the original boxes back up. And right. So on a wider scale, yeah. I mean, maybe there's potential there, but I don't like it, and it went too far down for me to justify holding it. GLTO, same thing. It's just it's not pushing the direction I want it to go. It's not doing the thing that's going to make me money right now, you know. So as a fast moving low float trader, I have to trade things that are moving fast and have low float, and more importantly, are going the direction I want them to go. So I can't have feelings about stuff that goes up after I exit, and if I'm going to, I also need to have feelings about stuff that goes down after I stop out, because that's what most traders don't do. Their feelings are only about the missed opportunity. Let's see what else we got. SLNH is back on the list. So this is one that we like. You know, we've traded the hell out of this one. If I go up here to like the 30-minute, you can see down here around $1. You know, that was a nice one. Obviously, I don't have any in this account, but he's nice. Let's see. All right, so we're starting to show a reaction to this zone right here on SLE. It's not a buy signal. That doesn't mean jump in. It's just saying that we've got some sort of reaction, some sort of consolidated participation in an area where violence has happened historically. And that's good. Weeble is starting to frustrate me like a second-rate cartoon. Like an adult is exactly what I'm running into. I can paper margin trade. That is frustrating because I want to press and I cannot. Oh, you want to do Bull's calendar press is what you're saying? Yeah. I mean, you might be better off just doing that on paper, Charlie, like actual paper or in a spreadsheet. Just to get the process down and get, because then it's a once a week thing. You don't have to worry too much about the, it's a little extra work, you know, but there's nothing wrong with just grabbing a piece of paper and doing stuff on paper, you know. That's how we did it back in my day. We papered uphill both ways in the snow. Do I recommend buying Bull? I don't recommend buying anything, sir. It is your hard-earned money. I'm not the one that committed time out of your life to go earn it and work for someone else. So I will never tell you what to do with your money, and I will never not call out someone else here for doing the same, because it's not ethical, it's not legal, and I'm not going to ramble or preach too much about it, but I want you to make your own confident decisions, and I don't want you to feel bad. So I totally get why you're asking. What I can do is walk you through what I see and why I see it, and then we can work through it together to see if it makes sense for you. Okay, we'll walk you through. So first off, what kind of trade are you looking for? Are you looking for a day trade that you see something on a lower time frame that you like? Or are you looking for a swing trade or like a decade-long investment? Or are you looking to trade options on it? I don't know where you're, like what your approach is. Okay, so swing. Okay, so since you're swinging this, we want to have a portfolio allocation set up. So does this stock price fit your price range for your swing trade allocations? So if you have like a $100 account, for example, one share would acquire about 14% of your account. That's more than 10%, so it'd be slightly riskier. But then having one share would also limit your ability to scale in and out. So do you have a trading plan set up, first off, that includes all that stuff? If not, and this is not a sales pitch, I just want to put this in front of everybody so they have access to it. If you click that link right there, I'll put it in the social media chats as well. If you click that right there, there's no pressure, but that is Lee's coaching program. It's Mad Maverick. He's the one that teaches the swing trading stuff, and he teaches you how to build your trading plan, and he goes through all the due diligence and stuff. So again, not a sales pitch, but if you're going to lose 40 bucks the next month, it's worth at least checking that out, because you came here asking me what to buy, you know. So rather than buying a stock, I would rather see education so you can get some value for that same $40. But that is that's all I'm going to say about it. So let's keep going. So you said that the percent of your portfolio is around 20%. Is that for swings altogether, or is that just what $14 would require? Oh, okay. You're trying to buy 100 shares. Okay. So you're looking at a $1,400 investment, and that's about 20% of your portfolio. Is that what you're saying? To get about $7 grand. Don't answer that if you don't want to. Buying 100 shares would cost you, sorry, for those who can't see the Discord chat, he asked me to repeat that because he couldn't hear it. So what I'm saying is that $1,400, which is what it would require you to buy 100 shares, that's about 20% of your portfolio. Okay. And is 20% an acceptable allocation for a swing trade on that portfolio? Or would you prefer to use a smaller amount or a larger amount? It's for you. Okay, good. So it fits, right? That's always the first check. Like for me, for example, I couldn't trade BETR, or what was the other one? BR, whatever. BIBR, whatever. This is a $65 IPO. I can't trade that on this account. It just doesn't fit. So I can't do it. So now we can look at the higher time frames, right? Let's map some stuff out. I've already done this for you, so you kind of get a little bit of an advantage here. So one of the easiest strategies that I like to do is just look for, and this is all I did this morning, just look for areas where there's big moves. So if I zoom out, and I got to kind of, this big spike here is kind of annoying. So I'm going to scroll a little bit over here. Hopefully you can still see that. But I try to zoom out as much as possible so that the candles are squished together. So it's going to make it a little harder to see. So let me just kind of zoom it out just a little bit. I still kind of want them squished together. I'm really just looking to see where the clustering is. Like you can see the price just kind of chopped around a little bit here. And more importantly, after it did that, the price shot out of there violently. Okay. It's hard to see on this screen. Let me just zoom out. Oh, you know what I can do? I'm just going to adjust the price axis. I don't know why I don't just do that. All right. So that way it doesn't skew everything. So basically, yeah, I mean, you can see where the price, let me just compress this a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hopefully the camera's not in the way if you're looking on social media or in the Discord, but you guys can kind of see how the price just kind of clusters there. And I'll just extend these all the way over as well. So we can see them for what they are, right? Rather than focusing on where they start, just view them as a range. Now, obviously we drew these after they happen, so we can't predict what's going to happen over here. We can't predict what's going to happen down here or up here. We just know that what has happened has had specific reactions, okay? So we can focus in on those zones. And if we just look at where the price kind of clusters and then blasts away from, and then kind of clusters and then blasts away from, same here. We got a little bit of a cluster here and a blast. And then we had a cluster here, and the price is currently blasting away from that zone. So we can't guarantee it's going to go all the way up because there might be a new zone that forms here. It just means that we've got these three zones to kind of work with, right? And if you're looking for a swing trade, your goal is really just to catch moves between these kinds of ranges or whatever your specific approach is. That's just the one I like, while avoiding big volume catalysts like earnings and things like that. So the earnings on this one just happened. It happened less than a month ago. So you got another 2 months before that happens specifically, but it's worth looking at the SEC filings to see what else might be coming up. So let me go ahead and pull that up, and we'll just look at this one as best we can, right? It's a relatively new one. So we'll go down here, we'll look at Bull. This is the SEC Edgar database, and let me also pull up my chat so I can see if you have any questions. And this is kind of where you can see all the filings that a company is required to post for shareholders, because shareholders have a right to transparency. And if they don't post something, the company itself can get sued. So nobody wants that, especially the shareholders. Oh no, am I sounding staticky? I hope not. Let me grab the YouTube link as well, just in case anybody does have trouble. I'll put that here in the Discord for you guys. See if it sounds better on there, Charlie. You might have a little bit of a delay, but it should be relatively minimal at this point. Hang on just 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I'm back. Got a little bit of a interruption, but it's okay. So this site right here is also stockanalysis.com. So if you're ever curious about a company's financials, this site has a pretty good visual breakdown. And this company, again, it's kind of new, so you're not going to see everything in terms of papers, but you can. There's enough here to work with, right? And one of the immediate things that I like to look at is the total assets and total liabilities. I just want to make sure the total assets is bigger. And then more specifically, I like to look at the total current assets, which I don't see on here. And that's okay. But I like to look at the total current assets and total current liabilities because that is a current ratio, which we can also see on FinViz. And what that tells me basically is that if they had to close their doors, they could sell X number of dollars worth of things, and they would use those dollars to pay off Y number of scheduled payment obligations like payroll, mortgages, leases, loan payments, all that stuff that they kind of owe, right, on a scheduled basis. That doesn't include one-off payments. It doesn't include new stuff. It just includes what they would have to pay over the course of the next year, right? That's the current ratio. And there's all these little metrics here have similar functions, but that's the one I like to look at first as kind of a deal breaker, right? So this one has a 1.42 current ratio, which means basically if they close their doors today and stop selling stuff and didn't spend any extra money that they didn't have to, they could survive for roughly a year and a half, which is good. It's above 1. That's all I really care about. Then I just kind of want to do a little sniff test over here. Do I see any big red numbers? Now, these are going to be skewed. Obviously, we have to be careful with FinBiz because it's 1,200% negative EPS past 3 to 5 years. That's just because it's incomplete data. So there's really not much we could do with this, with these numbers, right? So we could just close this. So same with the balance sheet. We don't really have everything that we like. But over here, I like to see the revenue growing. So if I hold my mouse over the revenue, it's positive for the last 4 years, or 3 years, I guess. And then I like to look down here, free cash flow. I want to see that positive and I want to see it increasing. So in 2022, it was negative by 62 million. Not a deal breaker, but it's worth paying attention to. And then 466 million positive the year after. So relatively negligible, I would say. And they've been positive for the last couple of years. So I'm okay with it. And that's just the free cash flow is just to keep it super simple. It's just a number of dollars that the company gets to kind of take home after they pay all their bills, all their taxes, all their stuff. And that's really what's available to shareholders, because that free cash flow is what determines things like, dividend payouts, share buybacks, and reinvestments in the company. So I'd like to see a positive free cash flow and positive revenue. And that's, I think it's as far as I really want to go with this one. We could do a much deeper dive, and I would really recommend talking to Mad Maverick about that, so he can like show you what he likes to look for. If I do it, it's going to be super complicated, and we're going to be here for 3 hours. Everybody here knows that, because I will absolutely get lost. So what I see immediately here is that they file 6K instead of 8K, and they file F1 instead of a 10K, or an S1, sorry, as well as S8s and things like that. And what this tells me is that these are foreign filings. So it's a foreign company. So I'm going to just go back over to FinBiz and see where this, I obviously know where it is, but it's always good just to check and see where this is registered. So it's registered in the USA, but it's filing foreign. It has foreign filing status. So that's interesting, right? So Weeble's a little bit of a weird one. So what we can do is we can just pull up, the last, couple of earnings. We can pull up these notice of effectiveness, the prospectus, and the notice of effectiveness. They don't do anything really. They don't tell you anything. They just say that they're activating something that's been filed. Okay, so right here, they are showing that they're having an offering that they just put into effect for up to 75 million Class A ordinary shares. Blah 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 blah. You don't have to read all this. If you want to, you can slap all this into ChatGPT to help you understand it, but it is worth at least sitting down at one point and just kind of reading through this stuff as much as possible and asking some questions about words you don't understand. If there's a dividend term called due bills, for example, and that's a term that most dividend investors, I can't say most, but many dividend investors aren't familiar with. And it just means that there's more than 25% of the the worth of the share being offered as a dividend. And it also means that there's an offset between the date of record and the payment date. And there's just these little quirks that you just got to kind of learn about. Baruch, dude, I was just about to DM you after the stream, dude. I was thinking about you last night. I was like, where the hell has he been? It's so weird that you're here right now. I meant to reach out to you today. That's weird. I actually told my wife, I was like, I don't know where this guy's been. That's cool. So fancy meeting you here. So basically, they're just offering a bunch of their shares up to 45% commitment per share and potential profit, $12.56 per share, blah 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 blah, and they're going to also offer warrants. Basically, is what I'm seeing here at a very very brief glance. I would want to read through it a little more thoroughly, but I'm on a live stream and I'm rambling. But I really just want to kind of point out the importance of understanding that there is an offering, because that's a dilution catalyst, and shareholders might not like that. So 147 million Class A ordinary shares, 6.792 million private warrants, and then up to 20 million Webull incentive warrants, and then another 17 million Class A ordinary shares underlying warrants, and 20 million ordinary shares underlying the incentive warrants. So there's a lot of dilution here. So we want to be very careful with that. Doesn't mean that the stock won't bounce back and blah, 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 blah. It just means that they're doing stuff to raise cash, which is a double-edged sword. You know, maybe they're doing it for good reasons, maybe they're doing it for bad reasons, maybe they're desperate and they need to pay their bills, or maybe they're trying to raise cash so they can launch a new thing, or they can acquire another company, which is where we have to go back to FinViz or stock analysis and say, okay, well, what does their financial situation look like? What do I see here? Do I see increasing debt? I do. Is it bigger than the cash that they're bringing home? Do they owe too much? Or what's their situation here? Now, I see that they have a pretty significant surge in total debt. So that's a red flag for me. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a red flag. So I'd have to look into their debt and I'd have to read through their filings and see what's going on. But they're trying to raise cash. And I don't know, is this debt an established credit line so they can take out more money? Like, what are they trying to raise cash for? And then you develop a thematic or a theme based on what you're seeing within these numbers. So basically, I'm going to look at these two 6Ks, which are kind of like news publications. They're a press release from the company that says, hey, we're doing something, or we're looking forward to something, or something has happened. So let me go ahead and look through this really quickly. Okay, that's fine. It's just earnings related stuff and tax stuff. So nothing significant in this one. Let's go ahead and read this one here. Press release right here. Okay. Okay, so that's just saying that they're expanding in Europe. Nothing really for us to look at on that one. So I really just got to figure out what they're trying to raise all this cash for. So I see a bunch of private offerings, and they're really just trying to raise money. Like, somebody's buying the hell out of these shares. They're trying to raise money. There's a correspondence here from the exchange, which is interesting. Hereby requests the acceleration of the effective date. So they're trying to rush these offerings as well. So something's going on within Webull. You know, so I'd want to check out social media. I'd want to check out the news, just kind of get some commentary on it, see if anyone else has done some research and maybe they found something. But the goodness is really going to be in these. Announce return of crypto, blah, blah, blah. That's all just updates you can already see within the platform. So nothing useful there. So they're trying to raise cash and they're keeping it quiet. So, right? So I don't believe they're hurting for money. I don't know if they're trying to do a buyback. They're relatively new. But something is weird here. Notification filed by National Security Exchange to report the removal from listing or registration, blah, 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 blah. So they're just trying to get rid of old stuff. Nothing really significant there. They filed an F1 amendment for one of their private sales, sorry. Here's their 20F right here. So this is where you'd really want to spend the time and just kind of go through it. I'm not going to read through all this. But this is their yearly filing. And let me see. Let me just see if there's anything in here that I can use. Growth strategies. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see anything super significant here that screams, you know, we need cash. They're going to turn the lights off. So I think I would just have to really spend some time looking into that one. But, you know, they seem okay with cash. I don't really see any huge red flags. I don't see any delayed filings or anything like that. I think everything is pretty well in order. So they're trying to raise cash for something, but they're also diluting their stock. So I don't believe that they're doing it to buy back, right? So there's only really three reasons a company would raise cash. And that is to either stay afloat, which they don't seem to be struggling, to buy back shares, which diluting the shares seems counterproductive, or to either acquire another company or invest in something and launch some sort of subsidiary. So I feel like they're doing something new, or they're trying to consume something. So I don't know. And this is where I just have to Google it and look at their investor relations thing and all that good stuff. So we can go over here and we can, and this is, unfortunately, it's part of the due diligence process. You just have to Google stuff and really look into things and figure out what's going on. But this is also kind of the fun part for a lot of people because they get to know the company. And that's a lot better than just, you know, looking at tickers and say, oh, it's going up or down, right? Because some people just like that. And I like it on the morning streams. but some people really like to know the story and the thematic, and that's, you know, that's okay too. Okay, so here, this is pretty significant. In July, they announced a $1 billion standby equity agreement. So that might be tied to this cash raise that they're trying to do. They're consolidating crypto entities, so maybe they're trying to acquire some stuff as well. So let's just read through this really, really fast. $1 billion in Class A ordinary shares to Yorkville over 3 years. Okay, so they did a pretty massive private sale at a 2.5% discount to the market price. Wow. Okay, so York got a hell of a deal on that. Okay, so that might, I don't know. It's weird. Like that doesn't quite fit in. It's a square peg for sure, but it's still a round hole, right? So maybe it fits, but it doesn't tell the story. So there's something, I want to say, I'm going to call it right now. They're doing something internally. They're looking to buy something big. So I would like that. That seems like a pretty good indication on my end, but we'll have to see. So let's look at the actual stock, right? Because that's kind of what we're here for at this point. So I wouldn't necessarily say there's any deal breakers. So I do like it. I like the chart as well. Obviously, we bounced off out of this zone of known violence, right? We got a pretty sizable move right here. We got a sizable rejection right there. And obviously this push up here to the gap. So it's a good zone. It's a nice little distribution range. But where's the potential, right? How high up could this go if it decides to, you know, announce some spectacular headline and you know, just wants to blast all over the place, right? How high could it go? The answer is nobody knows. You know, it's high after, you know, April 14th, the day before tax deadline. It went up to almost $80, and who knows after that, right? There's a bunch of, you know, there's no pre-market high that pushed over that. And before that, it was obviously OTC. So it's new territory if it goes up that high. I will grab a piece. I'm just going to grab a share right now, actually. And I'm going to buy it with unsettled funds. So I can't sell it today, but I can still buy it. That's okay. And I'll just buy a share and I'll just hang on to it because I like what I've seen, and I'll treat this like a swing trade, or, you know, maybe more like an investment. So in this case, I'm going to buy it at 14.23 so I can get filled. So, you know, I kind of like this one. I like where it's going. I like the underlying potential. The company's making plenty of money. The only thing that I don't know is what that catalyst might be, which is going to explain why they're trying to raise all this cash. Does that make sense? I know that was like and you're gone, I think. Yeah, I think you said you had to go a little while ago. But does that make sense to everybody else? Like there's like three parts to this. You want to make sure the company's stable and growing, so you can identify their reasons for their thematic, and then you want to look at the technical analysis piece just to see if the risk is too great or if it's acceptable along the way to realizing that end result that you're looking for. And that's the process of swing trading, basically. If you're investing, you don't look at the chart in most cases. If you're looking at the chart and you're investing, you are speculating and you're not investing. So PNW, yes, sorry, I can look at that one. So let me just make sure I don't want to miss anything here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we like this one a lot. It's one of the big boys. So what are you looking for on this one? A day trade, swing trade, fundamental analysis? We've kind of got this zone, right? So if you just look at this whole range, basically from there to there, right? You've kind of bounced around inside of that a bunch. We're kind of at the top of it. So doesn't mean it's going to go down, but if it breaks out, that's great because it's done that a bunch, right? Otherwise you wouldn't have higher highs. But right now the potential for it to break to the downside is greater, a greater range anyway. So if you want to trade it to the downside, you know, you've got limited risk, which is great. And you've got fixed potential, which is also great. But if it goes to the upside, you just don't have enough data to work with. And I just talked about this yesterday. Most people try to avoid new highs. They try to avoid breakouts when price hasn't existed up there before, because we're so conditioned by the belief that things will reverse at these highs. And it's just a weird mental quirk. But really what's happening is stocks form new highs all the time. You could just as easily say it was overextended and shouldn't go up here, right? And then it broke out, and then it like, oh, okay, it pulled back. That's its peak, right? It's not going to go any higher than that. It's pulling back. I knew it. I knew it was going to pull back, and then it broke out again. And so stocks that continually form new highs are always going to be overextended. They're always going to be, breaking out and things like that. That's just the nature of structure. You have to have that if you're going to have new highs. Just like with new lows, you're going to have, stop losses get slammed all the time. It's just going to happen because the things are moving down and down and down and down. So, we have to feel exactly the same about a new high as we do about a reversal at a high, a rejection at a high, right? Because in reality, this thing has hit this level 4 times. So it shows, volume spikes around these areas of participation as well. So there is literally a 50-50 chance of this going up or down. Okay. That doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you're going to buy this, it's going to go in one of those 2 directions, no matter what. I like the company. I like the potential it has. It's a very strong company, but it doesn't matter. Like that's mutually exclusive to the opportunity the chart provides. So the chart can add flavor. It can add some depth to what I'm seeing, but ultimately the chart is only there to tell me my risk and my profit potential. It doesn't tell me whether or not it's going to go up or down. That's what the fundamentals should tell me, that there should be a story. There should be reasons for the market to look at the chart. And then based on what they see when they look at the chart, that tells us whether or not it's going to go up or down. And we don't know that ahead of time. So I like PanW. I like it as a company. It's not my favorite, but I like it. And I like the chart. So I guess I just need to know what you're looking for. Are you looking for a short, a rejection, or are you looking for a breakout? Or are you looking to trade like an iron condor so you can catch both directions? You got your condor and your iron condor. One is if the price stays in a range, you make money. One is if it leaves that range, you make money, like a straddle. You straddle strangle. So it's up to you. Porter, I know nothing. Mr. Jon Snow. So, yeah, I mean, I like it, but if we look at it, the last 3 times it was up here, right here, we got a pretty nasty move to the downside, pretty nasty move to the downside, pretty nasty move to the downside, and we're starting a pretty nasty move. So it makes sense that we might see another nasty move to the downside. It's happened 4 times, sorry. So that tells me that's where the trend is likely to go, probability-wise, based on previous data. But again, it's also continually punched new highs in order to get up here. So I could use that same statistic for an argument to the upside. So there's no point in trying to guess. There's no point in having a bias. All a bias does is talk you out of trades and keep you in risky positions. So if I like this for a downside trade, I need to look at 2 things. First, it's done it a bunch from here. Second, it's approached this level with a pretty aggressive trend to the upside. So now I've got defined risk, which is cool. If I were to enter here, I would have a high that I could look at, and then I would have to pick a target, right? And that's where it just depends on what your setup is. Some people just like to punch new lows. Some people just like to aim for retracements. If you're just looking for a 50 to 61.8% retracement, that's still a 3.65% ratio. It's still 9% profit potential if you short it. With a 2.56% risk. Some people don't like to go to the cent because they get that 1 cent stop out and then it runs because they don't want to re-enter and the opportunity cost is too much. So it's a process. You just have to build your own system around this stuff. So I like it for a short side trade personally. I think tech is a little overextended anyway. Plus we've got this history of pushes to the downside. Plus we're seeing kind of a confirmation right now that it's likely to do that. Now it's on low volume. So that's a little bit of an absence factor. So maybe this is one that we just watch. So it's really up to you, and that's why nobody can tell you what to do with your money because nobody knows if it's going to go up or down. And that person that told you to get in might not be around when it's time to get out, for a profit or a loss. So I kind of like this one, but not to the upside just yet. So is that in alignment with what you were looking for? he's still here, he might have to leave too. I rambled a lot. That's what I do, guys. All right, let's look back here at the low float trash. Boy, am I glad we stopped out of that one for a profit. I like it. IBG as well, right? I don't feel bad about stopping out of that one when it stopped doing the thing that was going to make me money. Let's see, IPDN, same. It came all the way down here to 385. I don't want that extra drawdown, so I just cut it. Cut it a little bit later than I should have because I wasn't paying attention, but whatever. And then GLTO, same thing. It just didn't go the direction that's going to make me money, so I decided to cut it. SSKN, that one, that was a beautiful trade top. If you, I know you were looking for 285 plus. Went up to $3 though. If you're able to lock some profits on that one, I did not catch your updates. I know you've been putting a bunch of stuff in the chat, so sorry about that. This one, NUAI, you got some nice, beautiful zones on that one. And again, that's the same thing, right? We had that zone where it's got a history of violence, right? If we zoom out and we just see those clusters, right? We see the clusters of the violence. We got a big move out here, a big move out here, huge move out here, decent move out here, a bunch of little bounces, a big move, a bigger move, and then it plummeted right through that. Okay. And then when we came back, we got a nasty move to the upside, came back, held, and then a huge move to the upside, pushing over all the pre-market stuff so far. Okay. But the box was drawn right here, and then another box was drawn right here, I believe. And then look at all that juice that we got out of that one. Now, I didn't trade this. You know, top looks like he did, but that's, you know, that's all. Everyone's going to find their own opportunities. And it doesn't really matter what strategy you use. What matters is that you're consistent and that your strategy focuses on minimizing those losses. So if you're trading low float trash, you're going to have a balance between allowing some volatility and really cutting things tight before they go against you. So I got that wrong a little bit today on some of these and I ended up giving some of my profits back. But I'm still up my 2% for the day, and that's okay. It compounds nicely. So with all that said, congrats on that trade top. That was a beautiful setup. You locked some. What was your entry on that one? I'm just curious, if you don't mind. Because I know you use your MAs, right? You're on the 2 minute. Did you grab that off like 87, 88 cents? Probably, or a little higher, probably like 90, 91. NUAI, sorry. I think SSKN, you were looking for 285 plus. You were looking for a break over the MA. I'm curious. 88. Okay, so we're on the same page there. Okay. No, it's good stuff. Then you were just looking for a break retest and then a push off the 200 MA, I assume. I love it. All right. Well, with that said, while Top is typing his response here, I'm going to shut down the social media side of this. I'll put the link for you guys to get that free email sign up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X ×2, as well as Kick. If you guys are not in the Discord, join our Discord. I'll put that link in here as well. You guys are free to join. The first link is the email sign up. We'll send you a reminder email on Wednesday night so that you have Lee's live stream for Thursday morning. It's 100% free. The second link is the Discord join. So just hop in there if you want. You know, Meeble, Austin, Porter, Duck, Nikki, we're all here to help. We got Mr. Zadar as well, and a bunch of other people. But more importantly, the community people are awesome, and I love them, and I'm going to go hang out with them. So let me end this live stream here. Thank you all for hanging out, and I'll see you in Discord.